Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Streaming Theatre, where we curate, live edit, and live stream play readings, theatrical works, gigs, and other creative projects. My name's Kevin Kemp. I'm the artistic director of the Streaming Theatre, and on today's show, we have Matthew Cowell. He's an amazing sound designer, and he's here to talk to us about making sound design for film and theatre. I can already see we've got some people in the live chat. Hi, everyone. We've got Pilar Janine. Hey, Pilar, how you doing? Nice to see you. Really lovely to have you all here. We're going to be talking to Matt about what sound design is, how you get started in it, how to make your sound design awesome. So that's great. You can see I'm wearing big, silly headphones, and that's because we're going to be showing some examples in the show today. So if you've got some headphones you can put on, or if you can listen through some nice speakers or something, that's how you're going to get the best experience. Everybody in the live chat, have you got headphones or speakers or fancy things? Tell me. If not, you'll be fine. You'll be all right. If you can't see the live chat, you can do it just by clicking the little arrow that's sort of up here. And if you can't see that arrow, you might be on the streamingtheatre.com. If you're on the streamingtheatre.com, click the button just below me that says watch live on Twitch, and you can come and join us, and it'll be great. And that way, if you've got any questions for Matt throughout the show, you can just throw them in the live chat and he can answer them for you because he's a genius, so that's cool. If you can support the stream, that would be great as well. Any donations would be amazing. Donations and tips are shared with the artists on the stream. And you help us bring more and more arts events online. So that'll be super. If you can't see the donation button below me, just go to the streamingtheatre.com and you'll see all the donation links on there. I'm just looking at the live chat and seeing you all. Headphones. Okay, yeah, Alana, get your headphones on. That'd be great. Good. Also, if you can follow us on social media, that would be super, because the more followers we get, the more art events we can make. You can find our social media just here. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We've got a YouTube channel as well. You can click the link in the description box. Cool. I think it's time we bring Matt on. Where are you, Matt? Let me bring you on. Matthew.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for being here. I super appreciate it.
I am so excited to be here, and you know what? I have to say from the very top, though, I love the lighting that you have going on now.
Oh, thank you.
It's
thank you.
just, it's very.
I tried to do it in brand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I've got
That's
my logo blue and my logo yellow. That's
right.
That's what I've aimed for. Good.
Enough about lighting.
Enough about lighting. That's not what we're doing today.
That's right.
Good. We've got lots of people here. We've got Lily. Hello, Lily. Hello, everyone. We've got a few people. Puff Baloof Fdoom. I think that is the best chat name that I've ever seen. Can you see the live chat? Have you got that up as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm David. Oh, it's David. Hi, David. There you go. Cool. So, what are we doing today, Matt? What are we talking about?
You know, I just thought we could just have a little chat about some, sound design and what is it and why and why do we even want it?
Why? Yeah, and I'm really appreciative of this, man, because when I first started out in filmmaking, I just didn't appreciate it at all, and I'm going to admit that to the public. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, everybody. I didn't appreciate sound design. And my first short film I made, I got my mate to be boom op. Mm-hmm. And basically it was, I was still happy with the project, but that sound was just unusable, and Casey, if you're watching, you're amazing, but we did have trouble with the sound. Because she would readjust her grip and, you'd hear that. Yeah. And we super struggled to fix it in post. So it's so important, right?
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, because it's half of our movie watching or play watching experience.
Right.
We get experience from our eyes visually, but the other half is our ears, and it's fun and also very important to play to that.
Yeah.
And play around with it and see where we can push the boundaries and see where we need to not push the boundaries.
Sure. ATC 1990 says sound design is hard. I do some of that at Lucky Penny. Yeah, it is hard. It's just I just feel like it is probably one of the most underrated skills. So I'm super excited to kind of get into it today and try and figure it out a bit with you.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's fun. So why don't you sort of tell us your journey? Like, how did you? Because we met on The Tempest earlier in the year, and you were an actor in that. So
yeah.
And then sort of you did the sound design for that as well. So I got to work with you as an actor and as a sound designer, which was super fun. So what was your journey? How did you get into it and stuff?
In high school, I just kind of dove into music a lot, and as a drummer, and played a little guitar and stuff. But I was doing a lot of home recording and stuff, and just trying to figure it out on my own. And then all through high school, and just trying to do like live sound for bands and stuff like that, like a lot of jazz and a lot of rock and stuff. And then after high school, I went to a recording engineering program and completed a year and a half program through them, and became a recording engineer and got some really good training, and then worked with some a couple of albums and stuff.
Sweet.
And then my when I was 19, I was doing a lot of sound design, and I started to fall in love with Shakespeare. And so I was like, I want to audition for Shakespeare show, and so I did that, and ended up getting just essentially a walk-on role with a couple of lines, and then I discovered, hey, you can do sound and theater at the same time. And then it's like, wow, I can be a recording engineer or a live sound engineer, and I'm getting my feet wet into what is sound design for theater, and I've always appreciated sound in movies, but almost all of my work is theatrical sound design.
Cool.
So I got started in the theatrical side of it, and after a few jobs, my resume ended up on the right desk over at Skywalker Sound, and that was just that was truly a dream come true to work over there, and I worked on the scoring stage over there. So, I wasn't a high-up designer or engineer or anything, but you know what, I was still early 20s, and and I got to meet and work with some extremely influential people and musicians and engineers, and just walking around that place. I don't know if you've ever had a tour of the ranch up there, but it is totally Disneyland for techies. I mean, it's just magical, knowing what has been and continues to be created in that place. So anyway, I was there for a couple of years, worked on a lot of films, and then I was one of the unfortunate 9/11 layoffs.
Oh no!
Right after the film industry put the brakes on.
Sure.
And but that inspired me to go back to school and study this more intensely, and I just really dug into sound design and just really explored the depths of what we could do. And when I was starting, it was kind of the beginning of digital audio, and doing editing, sound effect editing and stuff, music editing on the computer was still a new thing, and there was a lot of headaches to try to figure out, how am I going to get this sound that I want, that's in my head, out into the theater. And anyway, it's been a really fun journey, and so I got to work with, some theater companies like American Conservatory Theater, their MFA program, and I designed 4 shows for them. And that one really it was exciting for me too, because I, again, got to work with young and very inspiring artists and directors, and just really kind of challenged me to be a better designer. And
sweet.
Worked. I did my undergrad at UC Berkeley, and so I did all their sound design, and plus worked with some other very influential sound designers in the Bay Area.
Cool.
And really just kind of picked their brains and worked closely with them, and
That's so exciting, man. That is such a... And I mean, I remember when you told me that you'd worked at Skywalker Sound, and I think I nearly fell off my chair, because I was just like, We've got a couple of fun questions. Let me just go back in the live chat a little bit. I'm just having a look. Mart 11NA. I like that. That's clever. What movie inspired you to pursue sound design? That's cool. Like, yeah. What did you hear that went, oh, I want to do that?
I mean, I don't know if I can pin it down to one movie, but there are a handful of movies that have really impacted my love of sound and my love of sound design, and continue to inspire me. And some of those films are like Jurassic Park, and of course Star Wars.
Yes.
We've got. I don't want to jump ahead too far, but we've got a little treat. We're gonna take a listen to some of these. But to answer the question, it's those movies like those classic films that I call them classic. I don't think they are actually technically. I don't think they're old enough to be classic yet.
They are in our hearts.
In our hearts. In Jurassic Park, like, when like they're sitting in the car or where it was, and you have that glass of water or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Hear T-Rex's foot stomp and the glass of the water shakes and you ripples and stuff. And it's like those moments when you will always remember when you hear them and when you talk about that film, and it's like those you remember the sound of those films.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that those two, I was really excited when you sent those over, because they're two films that are really dear to me. And like, I remember going to see Jurassic Park at the movies and being like, what's happening? This is incredible. And I think so much of it, I mean, the visual effects are brilliant as well, but the sound design was such a huge part of that. You guys are amazing in the live chat, by the way. We've got so many questions coming in. If I miss any, just shout at me in capitals in the live chat, and then I'll see it, because it's over there. You see me keep looking over there, so just shout at me if I haven't asked one, and then I'll get to you. So I feel like it's really important for us to start like right at the beginning. Like, what is sound design? If there's somebody's watching that's like not in the entertainment industry at all, what falls under the umbrella of sound design? What is it?
So there's two different ways to answer that. One is in film and one is in theater.
Okay, cool.
Or live performance of some kind. In film, sound design is basically something other than music, or what's called Foley. Foley are the kind of the sounds like footsteps and clothing moving and rustling of papers and things like that. That's all put in after the fact. Because when you're recording, like Kevin was experiencing in his first film, sometimes there's unwanted sounds in there. You're recording in a cafe and you literally can't hear the actor's dialogue. So all that stuff has to be put in afterwards. So, but that's not sound design. Sound design is basically everything that you hear that is not those two things, and that could be anything from birds chirping. I mean, that's not Foley. That's environmental. That's sound design.
Oh, okay.
So everything environmental, natural environmental, waves, ocean. Some of that stuff like water lapping on a boat and stuff is Foley, but and then you take it all the way to the other end, like the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, or the lightsaber sound in Star Wars. So like things that may or may not exist in the real world need a sound to them. Okay.
And I guess there would be an overlap at some point, right? Your sound designer would have to chat with your Foley artist and be like, am I doing that, or are you doing that?
Exactly. Exactly. Or they'll both do it, and then we'll come to the table and we'll pick which one, or blend them together. But there's lots of different people working on a film. But so that's for film. But for theater and live performance, sound design is essentially everything that you do hear that's not the actor's voice, or that's not live music. So canned music that's being played back over the speakers, in scene transitions, usually falls under the sound designer to come up with those pieces of music. Cool. They could be something that the designer has composed. A lot of sound designers are composers, because a lot of the pieces that we're working on require some element of musicality to them. And then a theatrical sound designer would gather all of the environmental, atmospheric sound design and any other sound that needs to be created to make the world of the play happen,
Yeah.
plausible, whatever fits, or what does, sometimes it doesn't fit. And sometimes if it doesn't fit, then it can be funny, and funny for the wrong reasons usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're experiencing a kind of a weird thing right now because Matt and I worked together on The Tempest. We worked together on Romeo and Juliet, and we're now working together on Night of the Living Dead: The Rising. I think we've got some of the cast in the live chat, so they're all here. You can say hi to them as well. Hello, cast. So we're experiencing something kind of weird right now because this like digital theatre, this theatre on the live stream as we place it up here is like a weird mix between film and theatre and it being its own medium. So we're kind of trying to find the balance of what that means for sound design, right?
It really is. I mean, it definitely is more toward the film side of sound design, just because everything is on camera and it's not live in front of an audience. A lot of it's recorded, and we're playing around with what can happen live in sound design or in music over streaming. But streams have also their own problems too with what you're allowed to do on a stream. What music you are allowed to play, and so it's really kind of allowing us designers to be a lot more creative and kind of pushing us to do something other than what we've normally been doing. Like for me, like it's doing a lot more composing and thinking about the emotional support of the show, where in theater there's definitely music to back that up, and in film there's the music to inspire an emotional response. But in this world of live streaming theater, the sound design, at least in the 3 shows that I've worked on with you, has been a lot more involved. I've been a lot more involved in the creation of the emotional world, and the physical world of the show, just through what we hear, and that's really one of the greatest parts of sound design, and that's why sound design, and it just really, it can very much enhance what we're feeling watching the show, the performance, the movie, whatever it is.
I think that's really well said. I want to come. There's a big repost of cues come up from Alana, so I have to get to that. Alana, don't let me forget it. Big capitals in the live chat if I forget again. Thank you. And also we've got the cast were shouting at us. Yay, we got a shout out. Of course you got a shout out. You guys are incredible.
Seriously.
If anybody's watching that hasn't seen the announcement, you guys have got to come and see Night of the Living Dead. We're having a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be something quite special. So check it out. And I think what you said is really cool, right? Because we've got to discover a new medium when we're doing this streaming theatre stuff. Like it isn't like film and it isn't like stage. So we've got to find new ways of bringing the audience with us. And I feel like sound design is such a big part of that. I agree. Because
and two, we're for the most part working in other people's homes. Like the actors are in their homes or someplace, and so we can't. It's really hard to bring all of the theatrical elements into their home. We can't bring in a whole lighting rig and a whole sound system and all this kind of stuff, and and it shouldn't be that way. It's a completely different environment. But one of the things that we're going to explore in Night of the Living Dead is what to do with lighting on this platform. But for sound, it's I think it's even more important, which I'm happy about because it's super fun. I love it. So and there's also a third aspect of what sound design is, and it even if you have no experience in theatrical sound design or film sound design, there's also sound design as an art form. And that can be something like. I worked with a projection artist a while ago, and he did some art installation of some film projections that he was doing on buildings. You've probably seen them, like where they at nighttime, usually in the winter, they'll like blast a projection onto the outside of a building,
Sure.
and turn that building into a live art kind of thing.
Yeah,
Well, we
cool.
did something similar to that inside, and we set up various speakers all around, and created kind of a art installation through sound. And it was cool. It was cool. So there's lots of opportunity to explore the world of sound design, and it's not just the gathering of sound effects. It's
No, indeed.
it can be a lot more than that. Sometimes it is that. Sometimes you're working on a straight play, and it's just the director literally wants a telephone ringing and some birds chirping and a car honk, and that's it.
Sure.
And you know what? That's fine. My job's done.
Yeah.
But we try to make it more than that.
Yeah.
With helping, like I said, the emotional response of what we're watching.
So cool. Let me jump into a question before
Yeah.
the live chat has destroyed me.
Sure.
Right, here we go. The am I saying this right? The Alana Nana. I do like that. We've got a repost of cues. I reckon what we should do is hit a couple of these and then go into maybe one of our examples, so we're mixing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we've got a repost of cues. We've got what was your first horror movie? I wonder if that is the first you saw, or did you ever work on a horror movie? I'll throw a couple at you, and you can decide which ones you want to hit.
Okay.
What's your dream show to sound design for? That's fun.
Oh.
What would your dream role in a show? That's interesting too, because you do act as well, so that's fun.
Yeah.
How do you feel sound mixing holds back horror? That's interesting, because I feel like horror is something where we're probably acutely aware of sound. Like you think of those spikes where they come out and it goes like "Wah," and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
holds back. I'd be interested to know how you feel like it holds back horror. What's your favorite production overall that you've worked on? Do you have a favorite sound that you've used in a production?
I totally do.
Okay, go on. Hit a couple
I'm going to
of
answer.
those.
Okay. My favorite sound, and it's something that I use in almost all of my shows, is thunder. And it's a very specific thunder cue that I have. I feel like it's my cue, like it's my thunder cue. Like, I pride myself on my thunder cues, and I am envious of other designers' use of their thunder cues.
Yeah.
It's just one of those sounds that I've always loved as a kid, and whenever there was a thunderstorm, I would go outside. I needed to hear it, and I needed to feel it.
Yeah,
it's just that raw power of loud.
Yeah.
It's just this loud thunder, and it just hits you right in the chest. And so, I've found a few pieces of thunder that I use constantly.
Sweet.
And thunder can be so flexible too. It doesn't have to just be thunder. Like you can mess with it and tweak it, and you can like reverse it and play it backward and make it into something else. Like it's a really cool tool. So yeah, that's my go-to.
We've got somebody saying we want to hear it.
You will.
Oh.
I got a surprise for you at the end. Yeah. Horror. I used to really enjoy watching horror films when I was, kind of a kid. In the 80s. Okay,
Yeah.
I just had a birthday yesterday.
Yes, you did. Happy birthday for yesterday.
Thank you. And so I'm in my early 40s, and so
You don't look a day of it, darling.
Thanks. I grew up in the 80s where they kind of hit a stride of like horror movies.
Yeah.
And
great horror movies.
Great horror films. And so I've watched so many of them. It's that adrenaline rush of I like to be scared. It's fun. So that kind of really kind of also sparked my interest, although I didn't know about it at the time. Like I didn't consciously think, I need to be a sound designer when I'm older. But looking back at it, those are the things that I remember the most is watching those films and remembering those sounds that I was hearing in some of those movies, like Pumpkinhead and all the Stephen King stuff. Just deep use of sound. Man, I haven't thought about that movie in a long time. Pumpkinhead. That's not the one you want to be proud of for watching. Anyway, yeah. Oh, there's
Yeah.
so many questions in there.
I know. Well,
You
why
want to
don't
fire
we?
one at me again?
We've got. Okay. Well, Alana Nanana, thank you so much for being
Yeah.
the master of reposts. Why don't we look at a couple of examples, and then we're going to come back to those reposts. So stay on me, capital letters to get my attention. I don't know, Matt. What do you feel like? What's the first thing you want to show people to give a good example of sound design? Something that somebody did a good job of.
So let's kind of start at. I don't want to say the beginning because there's a lot of happened before that, but let's start with what everyone considers to be almost the beginning of everyone realizing what sound is, and that's Star Wars.
I think somebody put in the live chat earlier, like that feeling of when a TIE fighter flies past, like
Yeah.
you feel it in your chest, right? Like it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we're going to Star Wars.
Let's show them some Star Wars real quick, and then we'll talk about it.
Sweet. And specifically, we're going to be looking at lightsaber sound.
Lightsabers, yeah.
All right, let's do it. Oh, my Stream Deck stopped working again. Just to let you guys in on this, 20 seconds before the stream started,
Literally
my Stream
20
Deck
seconds.
went no, and and I went, oh, well, that means I've got to do everything manually, and it's just gone no.
Nope.
So we're gonna get a bit clicky. I'm afraid.
Just bear
everybody.
with us. We'll get there
Yeah.
eventually.
Why is it doing that, Matt? All right. Anyway, let's just do it manually because I'm a grown up and I can handle it.
Sure.
All right, here we go. Let's listen to this awesome stuff.
Sure.
What is it? It's your father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster. An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
All right, there's a few.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. So, I mean, yeah, it's like the most iconic sound ever, right? Like
you hear that no matter who you are, you know that that's from Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that is such a groundbreaking use of sound. The designer's name is Ben Burtt.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, he designed all the Star Wars stuff and many, many more things. You've heard all of his stuff, and he's just a brilliant sound designer, and in the old school sound designer too, where he was doing all this stuff like with some really cool analog equipment.
Yeah.
That film, the first Star Wars film, premiered in 1977.
yeah.
Like in the same month that I was born in. It was, so I literally grew up watching those films, but it's the lightsaber that does it the most, and and all of those sounds. You heard R2D2 in there, and it's just that's R2D2.
And I mean, that R2 was crazy because, I mean, he became such a beloved character, and he's just whistles and squeaks.
With just sound.
How did they do that?
Yeah, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, chatters in there, but I think Ben Burtt is credited for the voice of R2D2. The R2D2
really?
had an actor inside, but I think he was like the voice of. Anyway, so a lot of these films like these classic, ubiquitous films, have sound in them that you can instantly recognize, and and George Lucas was saying how important sound is, and if you don't have sound in a film, then you don't have a film. Like it's like the most important thing to have.
Yep. And I know that I was telling you this before the stream that obviously the first thing I did when I got my visual effects laptop was that I built myself a stupid scene where I got a lightsaber, and and all I did is waved a stick around, and then did effects on top of it, and I'll be honest, it looked rubbish until I added the sound, and then I was like, oh my god, I'm waving a lightsaber around, and it was the sound that did it, and so I think it's a really good example of how it's all about that.
Yeah, it is.
So how did he make those sounds if he wasn't doing it digitally? What did he?
I don't know exactly what his techniques were, but I know that he used a lot of insect sounds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of insects were used, especially for motors and stuff. Some of the vehicles and stuff were insects mixed with other things, layered on with other things. It's usually never just one sound that makes a particular sound effect. It's
sure.
a layering of things to give it the complexity. And
I think that's something. Do we get to see that scene, Kev? Which scene? Which scene? Because I haven't been watching the live chat, so I might have missed it. But,
it's okay.
We got Jessica saying, do we get to see that scene? But yeah, I think what you said about the layering is so. It's something I've learned from you, because when I've done my own work in the past, I'll find a free sound asset and I'll just throw it on.
Yeah.
And that's it. It suffices, but it's fine. But since I've had the grace of working with you, it is the layering that makes it feel deep.
Yeah.
Should we play an example of something like that's layered? Because I feel like that's it.
Yeah.
What can we do?
Let's go to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Because
because
if you hear that dinosaur roaring, it's not just one sound you're hearing, and if you really listen to it, you can hear there's multiple animal sounds that make up that dinosaur roar.
Okay, cool. Everybody's asking to see the lightsaber video.
Oh, yours. They want to see your film. That's what they want to see.
Let's play the Jurassic Park first. I don't even know where it is. All right, here we go. So we're going to have our T-Rex.
Yeah.
This was so fun when I saw this.
So iconic.
Okay, here we go. So what are we listening out for? Tell us again.
So we're going to listen to the T-Rex in this one. So let's listen to all the sounds that make up the T-Rex's character. Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it just like rips your face off. I love it.
I think what I'm so impressed by with that sound is that even when you play it quietly, it sounds so flipping loud.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it's in your chest, which is what loud sounds do.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's so good.
It is. So, with something like that, so, dinosaurs don't exist anymore. And so we don't have any recordings of them, unfortunately. So, it's up to the sound designer to figure out what that's going to sound like. And, of course, the director, Steven Spielberg, of course, has, it's so hard to say, has a lot of, influence in what this dinosaur is supposed to sound like. But in this case, the sound designer, Gary Rydstrom.
I can't remember.
Gary Rydstrom, I think.
I believe you.
Was I could be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to give somebody else credit for something else. But anyway, the T-Rex sound, you have to create it to be this monster, this giant monster, and make it sound intimidating and loud. And I just recently saw somebody post that same clip, but like replaced the sound of the T-Rex with like cats meowing, and it's just so. But it's just that's the power of sound design, It was horrible and hysterical at the same time, but in this it just makes you, it reaches you on a primal level.
Yes.
Like that sound, hearing that sound is imminent danger, and so you can hear in there like deep animal, like cat growls, like lion, tiger type guttural growls and stuff in there. And so it's just really fun as a designer just to play around with, making something sound the way that you want it to by using sounds that you may not think would work, like
Yeah.
insect sounds for vehicles, or
Yeah.
a lion for a dinosaur.
Yeah, and
It's fun. It's super fun.
so Pilar asked a cool question, which is that how do you go about creating a sound for something that doesn't exist in real life? That's a really good question, Pilar, because it's like if you've got a cat, you just Google a cat noise. And
Exactly.
There's a ton of free resources which I can throw in the live chat. But like, like what do you do?
So
what do you do?
What do you do? So it really depends on what world you're living in, what world this show is living in. So is it a sound like Harry Potter's magic wand, and that kind of magical sound where it's supposed to be real, to them, like that world kind of exists almost. It's not like Star Wars, where that world doesn't exist to us. It's all fantasy. I mean, I guess Harry Potter is too, but I don't know if that makes any sense. But so how do you create something that doesn't exist? It depends on what world you're in.
Well, why don't we use a case study? Because when we did Tempest, we asked you to make us some spells.
Yeah.
And so one of the spells that what's his name?
Prospero.
Thank you. Prospero does is he freezes somebody, and you made us this spell. So let's play your freeze spell.
Sure.
So there's a lot of layer in there.
Yeah.
So when we said freeze spell, what did you do?
Well, I wanted to first understand, the world that the characters are living in. Are they living in a realistic world where I need to create sounds from nature, as it were, and make sounds more organic, or can I push the boundaries and make sound from something synthetic? And that's kind of what I did here. And in fact, I blended those kind of two worlds together by, if you were to listen to that, you hear the first sound that you hear is a synthesizer, kind of this growling, kind of distorted mess. And then and then in the background you hear this like whipping kind of sound effect, and that's literally thunder being played backward. That's my thunder.
Yeah, somebody in the live chat shouted thunder. So
exactly.
So you can
hear it. Yeah. So and then just other tweaks and just other tiny little sounds to make it build and crescendo up to this, as if I just imagine power coming out of his hands, and it and it's beginning to freeze somebody, and it's not just an instant freeze. It's just the body's slowing down to a freeze.
Cool.
Yeah. So just kind of layering is super important in doing this, and so talking with the directors and talking with Kevin, we kind of discussed like the world should sound like the world can sound inorganic, mixed with some of the organic, and so I got to play around a little bit more with pushing the boundaries of what it is, as opposed to say something like Harry Potter, where it's all organic sounds. When my favorite scene, and we don't have this clip going because I just thought of it right now, but one of my favorite scenes sound wise in Harry Potter is when Dumbledore is fighting the name who shall not be named, and he encases Voldemort encases him in this globe of water. Just the sound of his magic there, it's just brilliant, and it's just beautiful.
And I think you're right. There's a lot of character in that sound design. Like when I'm going to say it because I'm not afraid of him. When Voldemort,
there you
go, does his magic, it's all very like it's massive because he is almost arrogant, right? It's like powerful. Whereas you're right, when Dumbledore does his magic, it's like whoop, whoop, and like little things that make you show. He doesn't need to be showy.
No,
he's just
confident.
And
that's all in the sound. There's visual effects to back that up too, but the sound is telling a story. The sound is if your sound is not helping tell the story, then you need to go back and fix it.
And I think that's really cool. And if I play you guys the unfreeze spell, you're going to hear that there's like aspects of the freeze spell in it, but other things added to suggest that it's something new, something else is happening. So let's play unfreeze. And what I like about that is that there's another spell that you made for us, which was the awake spell, and that has aspects of this one to show that magic is like dispelling, right? Like if I play that, we can hear those themes kind of happening. Yeah, it's that. There's a Dumbledore-esque vibe to it, isn't there?
There is, and you know what is really fun to do as a sound designer is that you want to make sure that your sound design is consistent throughout this world. Like, you know, magic may sound different between its different magicians and wizards and things, but it should all have the same base to it, the same reality to it.
That's cool.
That you know, you can't take a 1970s sci-fi sound and put it into, you know, Harry Potter. Like it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So you know, you're gonna hear, if you hear some of my design stuff back to back like that, you're gonna hear like, oh, well, that's, you know, he's using a lot of the same sounds, and I am, and it's for a very, very good reason, because I want it to be consistent, and I want it to stand, you know, on its own in that particular show.
And I feel like actually our Transformers cue illustrates that quite well, because the different Transformers have different sounds, but they're all within the same world, and they're very layered. And then we'll get to some of these questions that are firing out. Are you down for that?
Yes, let's do it.
Here we go. So let's see how these guys sound. I love that one. So ridiculous.
For those of you who are wearing headphones, your ears are probably ringing, and I'm sorry. And you know what? A shout out to the person on YouTube who edited all those sounds.
Yeah. Totally.
All those clips together. All the Transformer sounds. Because it's awesome.
Yeah.
So what, you know, we're talking about all these really classic films like Star Wars and Jurassic Park and you know, Harry Potter and stuff, and like, you know, why is this dude throwing in Transformers?
Yeah.
It's not a classic film, but it's a personal favorite to me, and it's one that has inspired me as a sound designer. And this is the type of film that I would love to do.
Right.
Like this, just the texture of the Transformers design work, it just speaks to me as a designer. So, and you'll hear, you know, kind of that as an inspiration to me in some of my designs. And so I had to show it. I had to bring it. You know, I wanted you to hear it. And there's so many things that we can talk about with Transformers, but you know, one of the dangers that a sound designer has to be aware of is something called ear fatigue. And that, and we got a very good example of that in that clip that we saw. Like, it was just, you know, just bombarding you with audible information constantly, very loudly. And especially in film, you know, you really have to be aware of your audience's ears and their stamina to withstand constant loud sounds like that, you
Yeah.
know. And so, you know, when you watch those films, and yeah, they're loud, they're really loud films, and they're supposed to be, you know, there's these giant robots transforming, and so, but I just love that it's a mechanical sound, but it's also this like really, sorry, robotic,
Sure.
tweak to it, and kind of very synthesized, very digital
Yeah.
surface to it,
But
texture to it.
I love as well that there's like other bits in there, like we've just got Detective Cass saying Transformers was definitely one of the first movies that gave me chills strictly from sound. I think that's bang on, and I think it's because, as you said, not only are there all these like layers that are quite abstract sounds, but also like it's mixed in that suddenly you hear like the rubber of the tires like bouncing on the road, and it goes like boop, 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 and then you're back into this like alien transforming sound, and then you like hear one of them like kick off a bit of metal from another one, and it's like it's all just this mix between the abstract and the sort of Foley, if you like.
It is. Yeah, just to me, that's like just the best of all the worlds together. Like you can just use everything at your disposal to create a sound effect, and then you know you created all these machine sounds and clinking sounds and stuff, and then what do you do with it? Well, you have to make it sound like it's part of this world, and especially for those of us who grew up, you know, watching the cartoon of Transformers, you know, it's very nostalgic to us, and so you know, you want that sound to be, you know, that's the Transformer sound, and you know, how do you do that? You know, and it's actually really easy. Well, okay, it's not really easy, but it's a lot easier than it used to be. You know, there's a lot of programs out there that you can use to kind of help make your way as a sound designer.
And I thought they did that really well. They, as you said, the old cartoon Transformer sound they put in the first movie, didn't they? It was what the first Transformer that transformed did it, and then it's almost like they used that and riffed off it for the rest of them. And we've got a couple of things in the live chat saying, will Matt make us a playlist of his top movies for sound design? I feel like with this insight, I'll be able to see movies and stage productions in a new way. I would also love that, Matt. So if you're down...
I'm so down.
And maybe... here we go. So we've got an ask for two things. We've got an ask for the Kev lightsaber video, which I'm not going to spend time now dropping into the stream. And we've got a request for Matt's list of top movies. So if you guys come and follow me on either Facebook or Instagram with any of these guys, these little links, if we can get my numbers up a little bit, I'll post the lightsaber video and Matt will post his list of movies. How about that?
Will. Yeah, totally will.
Because I'd love to experience that, Matt, actually.
Oh, for sure. Me too. And then we'll just have to watch them.
Yeah, and maybe we can have you can do that new thing. Have you seen there's a piece of software now where you can do like a watch party?
The watch party,
yeah, where you just press play and then everybody gets to watch it at the same time. I love that. We should do that. That'd be a thing.
Yeah.
So I want to do one more question and then we should do some more examples. I'm aware it's like 5 to 8 already.
I know.
We shouldn't have done an hour stream. Are you down for hanging out for like 15-20 minutes more, or have you got to nip off?
Yeah, can we?
Yeah, because there's a couple more things I want to hit. Obviously, in the live stream, if you have to run, we respect that. But we might just sit and chat for a bit longer.
If Twitch is not going to shut us down at 8 o'clock, then we
can stream forever. Okay, cool.
And some people do,
yeah. Somebody's put Matt's movie marathon. That's what it's going to be called on the watch party. Somebody posted, I can't remember, a while ago. Maybe Anana, you can help me figure out who it was. But somebody asked like how long it takes you to make one of those layered sound cues, and I thought that was really good because I know when I'm making a sound cue without you, which is the worst thing that happens to me.
Yeah.
It takes me blimmin' ages just to like find it and then cut it to what I want and then put it up.
Yeah.
So when you send your beauteous work, how long does that take?
Well, it really, of course, it depends on how long it is. You know, what I'm working on. Some designs can take me weeks.
Sure.
You know, like I did a show for ACT. I did a show. It was an original piece called the Wendy Play, and in there's a play within a play, and in this play within a play, we need to hear the world rotating stop.
Right.
Yeah, it's like what? I don't. Okay, so you know, I just went kind of and just envisioned what I would. What it would sound like if I was just floating around in outer space, if sound could transmit through a vacuum, which it can't, but, you know, tell that to Star Wars.
Sure.
So...
yeah.
Right?
You just blew my mind.
Explosions in outer space don't make a sound, but...
No, because the air can't vibrate.
But I'm so glad that that they do on film. Yeah. I know,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, so for that sound design, you know, I just started off like really slow with just like one or two small layers, and then it transformed into this like huge earth-shaking, shattering, machinery breaking as it slows down kind of sound, and that took me like a good week to do. Just because it's so deep and so many layers and had to sound right. But you know, if you want, I can show you kind of what that layering sound effect can do.
Yeah,
you know,
I would
on
love
a very
that.
very basic level.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to check the live chat where you get set up. So you need to share sound with me now.
I need to
so
share sound. Yeah.
There you go. I'll turn mine off.
Okay.
I'm going to jump in the live chat while you're looking at that. I was just about to ask Martina. Martina, what was your question? Because I've lost it. Because I'm not quick enough at scrolling in the live chat. I'm going to see what other questions we've got.
Yeah, I'm ready to go whenever you are.
Oh, you're ready? Go on then. You do.
Yeah.
You do your stuff.
So I just kind of threw this together just kind of as a demo for this particular interview, and you know, how can I show, you know, kind of the sound layering upon itself to create a more visceral, you know, experience for the listener, and so I'm going to start off here with just some really basic wind sounds.
Okay, cool.
You hear this okay?
Yeah, I've got it. Oh, a couple of the cast got to go back to rehearsal. Bye, guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we've got some wind.
So we got some wind sounds in there, and you know, in and of itself, that's pretty cool. It sounds kind of spooky, but you know,
Can we lift it a bit just to make sure it's through on the live stream?
Yeah, in volume.
Yeah, just a touch. Yeah, there we go. That's cool. Cool. So I feel like I'm outside in a spooky.
So yeah, you're outside in the Arctic or in the tundra,
Good.
and maybe in a outside of a cabin in a horror film. You know, and then but that, you know, that may not be enough. You know, we want to kind of make it go somewhere. You know, we just don't want it to be one note the whole time. And so, you know, let's add a little bit of thunder in here and see what that does.
Okay, cool. It made me jump.
So there's right, and that's part of it too, right? Just that scare factor in there. So we've got some thunder in there, but you know, we still want it to be a little more engaging. And so I'm going to turn on this like low end drone sound that's going to kind of sneak in the background, and then kind of take over.
Oh, that's cool. So you've kind of added like something more abstract.
Exactly. Adding in something abstract to just kind of help tie it in with the world that we're in. You know, in this world, you know, we have music that's more synthesized music that's, you know, kind of like stuff that we're going to be working on for Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm just going to keep adding these layers in here. Like I've got this like a steam whistle, like from a kettle almost.
Oh yeah.
you know, and I'm going to mix that with a woman screaming, and then I'm going to take that same whistle and slow it way down and
Okay.
just make it sound kind of like a ghosty howl. And it's the same steam whistle, just like a but I'm gonna tweak it and slow it down and kind of put that in. And so what you get then is this kind of finished soundscape. Here you go.
Yeah, man.
We lost
Cool.
the screams. I don't know where they went, but there we go.
That's cool. No,
But yeah.
because yeah, I mean, as Pilar just said, it's so well done, super interesting how it all works. Yeah, I think, and Happy Blonde just said I got to turn my lights on before I get.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think what I found really interesting about that is the wind did something for me. It let me know where I was. That's fine.
Yeah.
But as soon as you added that more abstract sound, it adds like an emotional aspect to it that wasn't there before.
That's right.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's kind of all, you know, it is. It can just be, you know, it can just be a sound effect, or, you know, you can have an emotional response to it. And that's what I really like about a lot of the sound design work that I do, that there's an emotionalness to it. There's you know, I just want to feel something. I want to, you know, be a part of this world, and I see maybe it's the actor in me that I see myself in it. You know, I see myself in this world. You know, I see myself staring at a transformer. I see myself, you know, fighting along with, you know, the actors. You know, I just kind of who I am about, you know, what am I hearing? What do I want to hear? What do you think I should hear in this world?
I love that. So what we're going to do now, because we've got a ton of questions, we're going to do quick fire questions with Matthew Cowell.
Let's do it.
So you're not allowed to spend more than 1 minute in answering the question. That's the rules. Here we go. Alana Nanana Nana Nana Nana, you are incredible. Here we go. From Lucifera, how do you feel about the trend of some filmmakers giving organic animals a more mechanic or synth sound? Love that question. Go, Matthew Cowell.
It's a great question. I think it can be appropriate. I think it could also be overdone. I think it's also like adding autotune to pop music. It's, you know, there's a place for it. You know, and you know, are you doing something like what's the movie with the boy and the tiger and the boat, whatever? You know, you're doing that. And I mean, you know, are you trying to make this tiger in this world sound, you know, like a robot tiger? No, you know, no. So it really depends on the world, you know, like
I love that. That was good. That was good quick firing. Here we go. Next quick fire. What would you say was your most challenging project as a sound designer, and what were those challenges? But you've only got until my finger gets round to here. Ready?
Okay.
Go.
I'd say one of the most challenging sound designs that I've worked on was probably with ACT as well, and one of the other shows that I worked on. It was a show called Orlando. And in there, the director had a very specific idea of what this sound should be, and I did my best to try to give him what he wanted in that, and it just kind of wasn't working for either of us, and it's just kind of come down to experiment and just kind of really think outside of the box, and just don't take your first idea, take your like 8th or 9th idea.
I twisted my arm. Yep.
and just kind of push the boundaries of what you think reality should be, or, you know, it doesn't have to sound the way you think it should sound.
That was good. I enjoyed that one.
Okay,
I did nearly break myself, but
yeah, no, it's right.
Hang on, where did I get to? Matt, can you share your experience as a live Foley artist? Did you ever do live Foley?
I've done some, not for film. One of the coolest shows that I've ever worked on as a sound designer was a live theatrical production of Our Town. And if you ever know Our Town, it's written to have the sound effects or the props in there mimed. You know, like if they're holding a cup of tea, they're literally doing this. There's no cup of tea. And so what I really wanted to do is to bring those Foley sound effects and into the theater and do them live.
Sweet.
And so I had a whole table of all these Foley props and sound effects sitting right in front of the stage. And so the audience would see me doing all of these sound effects live while I'm watching the performers. And, you know, it was something as simple as just, you know, one of the actors was holding a cup of tea and I have this cup of tea and I'm shaking it because he's nervous. Or I'm like sipping, you know, water through a straw in an empty glass to make it sound like he drank all of his, you know, ice cream soda or something like that, you know, and like a lawnmower and a thunder sheet. And so I love doing that kind of stuff. I love like the live Foley part of sound design. It's so cool. It's so creative because you can take something that, you know, you may not, if you hear a sound, it could be any number of things that make that sound. And when you match it to something visually on screen or on stage, then it kind of makes it make sense.
Yeah.
And so I love that part of it, that it just experimental.
That's sweet.
You know, yeah.
Quite comically, I actually did a similar show, but it was with a company back in the UK who were clowns. So big part of my career back in the UK was doing comedy, and the premise of the show was that it was actually a sort of radio play, and we were all serious actors. And then the Foley artist hadn't turned up, so that then the actors had to run over from the mics when they weren't doing their character and try and do the Foley. Yeah. And obviously because we're all idiots, we would like mess each other up as well. So like we'd run over and trip up and like smash into the smash box. So then the actor doing the action would have to incorporate that into the show. Yeah. And it was a ridiculous play.
It is.
So that's fun.
Well, and it's funny though too, because that also brings up that sound can be funny too. Sound doesn't have to be dark and ominous, and sound doesn't have to evoke emotional response. It doesn't have to at all. It can be fun and it can be funny. And sound effects, you know, like cartoon sound effects, like, you know, all those classic, you know, Three Stooges and stuff. Like there's some really funny sounds in there.
And actually, we used that in Romeo and Juliet, didn't we? Like, there was that scene, the scene before we went into the Capulet Ball, we wanted to do as a Zoom waiting room. And
That's right.
We wanted that to be silly. Let me pull that sound effect up because it was quite silly. And we wanted, you know, because Romeo and Juliet's got a lot going on, so we wanted to give it a little gentle thing. Yeah. And so this was our hold music to go into the Capulet Ball.
Oh, sorry, I'm sharing sound. Can you stop sharing sound?
It's all right, the stream can hear it.
Okay, good.
There you go. But that was silly, wasn't it?
I love it.
All right, cool. Happy Blonde. Y'all, I don't know if I can pull that off as an Englishman. Y'all Y'all were amazing on R&J. Thank you, Happy Blonde. That's very nice of you to say so. All right, we're going to do two more quick fires because we've got to drive. We've got to finish in like 5 minutes. So we've got loads of other things to say.
Yeah.
Here we go, quick fire. You're only allowed 4 words.
Oh my God. Okay.
What has been your favourite project so far in your career?
Kevin Kemp Streaming Theater.
You are too lovely. Stop it. I blimmin' love working with you, mate. It is a happy thing.
It really is.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Well, that's true too.
Englishman doesn't know what to say now. Okay, here we go. You're still only allowed 4 words for this.
Okay.
As the sound designer, how do you tell your director that he has too many sound cues and it distracts from the production? I still have not nightmares. Pilar understands. Who sent that? ATC 1990. I don't know who ATC is, but All right, 4 words. How do you tell your director they got too many sound cues and it's not good anymore?
Sound shouldn't draw attention.
Ooh. Oh, Matthew Cowell. I like that. I think we share a similar philosophy on that, because I feel the same way about the technology when we're doing these streams, is that I feel like the technology should almost try and be invisible. It's almost like it's like augmenting and just lifting the performance, and you shouldn't go, oh, that was cool.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, what are we going to play? We got to play a couple more things, and then we need to stop, because otherwise this stream is going to go on forever. But I just want to keep hanging out, so I don't know what to do.
I know. Well,
what do you want to play?
we could play. I don't know. We could. I have a synthesizer we could play with.
Oh yeah, play with that.
Okay.
You're sharing sound, right?
No, I gave it back.
Pilar's just said, no more sound, no more. Make sure it's quiet. Otherwise Pilar will get angry with us.
This is it's not going to be loud, but it's going to be really cool.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
This is kind of an
ready?
example.
You ready, Pilar?
Okay, this is an example of just kind of some of the cool things that you can do with sound in
Sweet.
this day and age. And so here, what I did was I just recorded myself saying this sentence essentially, and this is just me, like, completely unedited and raw. Cool. Here you go.
There are a lot of very cool synthesizers out there, both additive and subtractive. This one is a subtractive synthesizer, which, as you can hear, does some very cool things with vocals.
Okay, so that's the raw sound.
That's just
right?
the raw sound, yeah. So here, I threw it into a synthesizer that I have, and being inspired by the Transformers and the Matrix and stuff like that, I wanted to show you what this can do. Here it is.
There are a lot of very cool synthesizers out there, both additive and subtractive. This one is a subtractive synthesizer, which, as you can hear, does some very cool things with vocals.
That is cool. Wait, so are you allowed to tell us what software we can get that might do something like that? Is there anything we could download? Like if we were trying to play and just mess around, what
Yes.
Is there anything you'd recommend?
Yeah. So there's you can pretty much find almost any software for free. Free software that will do the same thing that paying thousands of dollars will.
Yeah, rather than just like ripping illegal software.
Yeah, no, that's not what I mean at all. Don't do
That's
that.
what we don't recommend on the streaming thing.
No, because and also you don't have to. Like,
Yeah.
so if you want to just do basic, wave file editing and stuff like that, there's something like Audacity, where it's free, it's simple, it's open source. If you want something a little bit more robust, like something a little more pro level, but also free, there's a program called Reaper, REAPER, and it's just a multi-track digital audio workstation.
Cool.
Powerhouse. So that's free. For synthesizer playback and manipulation, I like to use FL Studios.
Is that a freeware or is that a paid?
It's not. It is a paid version, but they have a free trial version that will last forever. It's just there are some certain stipulations.
Sure.
Like it's hard to save a project to it, and some of the synthesizers will just drop out randomly and then come back in like 8 seconds later, just to make you buy their full version of it. But
yeah, sure.
For a lot of what I do, I don't need to run like a 2-minute long synthesizer sound.
Yeah.
So I can use the free version of this and without paying a whole lot of money. So FL Studios, I've used that for a long time. I used it back when it was called Fruity Loops, and then Kellogg said, sorry, you can't use Fruity Loops anymore. So then they did FL Studios. So a lot of what I use is free. So if you want to experiment with some of this stuff, just look at some freeware for. Or open source stuff for there's tons of open source plugins and synthesizers that can do any of this stuff, and people who are much smarter than I have made it so much easier to just kind of plug and play some of this stuff where you don't have to know the ins and outs of the software.
So Happy Blonde and ATC 1990 have said they'd really like a list of any software you recommend. So here we go, same plug as before.
Okay.
follow me in the social media
There you
rises
go.
below.
Gotta do it.
Whoop, 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 whoop. And what I'll do is I'll get Matt to write us those lists, and I'll throw them up on the Facebook or something. Is that cool with you, Matt? If we do something like that, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So come and follow me on Facebook, and follow me on. If you don't have Facebook, the other ones, and I'll make sure that they're thrown up on the social media. And then we'll get Matt's list of movies.
Yep.
Matt's essential list of software.
Yep.
And maybe me throwing a lightsaber around. And I think that would be really cool. So here's a question. I currently use Audacity when I'm recording audiobooks and when I unfortunately don't have you on a project with me. So would you say Reaper is better than Audacity?
It's just bigger and broader.
Okay.
Like it can handle a lot more like multi-tracks, like tracks stacked up on top of each other.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's a lot more that you can do for getting like effects like delay, reverb, and compression and EQ and all this kind of stuff that you can manipulate your tracks with. There's just a lot more available on Reaper.
Sure.
It's definitely deep though, and it is open source, so sometimes open source stuff can be, their user interface is not great.
Sure.
But the user interface for Reaper is pretty good. If you know one digital audio workstation, you can pretty much kind of find your way around it.
Yeah.
So, I used to use Adobe Audition a lot, but I just kind of got tired of paying for something that I can use as free software for. But Adobe Audition, I love it. I'd really love it. If I'm going to buy something, it would be Audition, just because I've used it for so many years and I just know my way around it.
I just have to say such a big thank you to the Alana Nana, because she's basically my mod in the live chat.
She's
tonight.
the only one on
like,
that. Yeah.
you are incredible. Like it is Alana from Night of the Living Dead, right? I'm not just
sure it
like
is. I think
I'm not just.
It's gotta be
Alana. It is you from Night of the Living Dead, right? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Thank you so much. Cause she's throwing up my social media links. She's like redoing all the questions. You are incredible. Thank you.
Yes, and to answer some of those questions, that yes, you can. All of these freeware, all of these softwares you can find on Mac and Windows.
Oh, cool.
They're all available. Yeah, and Linux too, if you are into that thing.
And I feel like before we sign off, because we should soon, as much as I don't want to, I feel like hardware is worth talking about as well, right? Because I know, I was working on, for ages, my Apple earbuds. And I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then I had a pair of like $30 like gaming headphones, and I was like, that's fine. And then somebody told me to buy these, which are... those are the out of focus DT770s.
Yeah,
and
Sennheiser.
It basically changed my life.
Yeah, it does. Headphones, just investing in a decent pair of headphones, and you don't have to invest a lot of money in them. The pair that I'm wearing right now are Audio-Technica ATH M50Xs.
Those were the other ones I was going to buy. It was between those and these.
Yeah, I just got these. I had used Sennheiser HD380s for years and years and years, and then I needed to retire them. Yeah. And so I settled on these, and I did a lot of research on them, and I was ready to spend like $300 and $350 on a pair of headphones.
Sure.
But then I saw the reviews on these, and it was like $150, and they're just topping the list of stuff, and so so you know what. It's just different levels. If all you've got, if all you can afford are earbuds, then cool. Just, start somewhere. Start with something. But, if you can invest in even a $30 pair, $45, $50, there's so many affordable headphones out there in like the $50 range. Like, I can give you a top 5 if you want to.
It's going on the social media.
Right. So yeah, invest in a nice pair of headphones and that are comfortable for you to wear for a couple of hours. If you're anything like me, you're going to wear your headphones a lot, just listening to music and stuff. Yeah. Or a decent pair of speakers, but those cost a little bit more.
Is there any other hardware that you think is necessary? Like, do you need a power? Like, with when I'm making video assets and things like that, I need a computer that can push push that. Is audio kind of CPU intensive, or is it all right?
It's not very CPU intensive. It's not like video editing.
Yeah.
That eats up your RAM really, a lot. But audio editing is not very big files at all. So you can pretty much use just whatever you want. I mean, I've used basic computers, up until just a couple of years ago, and then I started getting into gaming computers just because they can handle like any of the video editing and really large file.
And also gaming computers sometimes have flashy lights.
And they really do. They're pretty, yeah. So yeah, just basically just a decent computer that you can that you can work with. Should do just fine straight out of the box.
Cool.
You don't have to get a special sound card or anything like that.
Cool.
And maybe a microphone or an interface or USB mic or something like that, just so you can record some things. Like
sure.
Hopefully this won't destroy your ears too much, but I have the microphone that I'm using is on a Zoom H4.
Oh sure.
Yeah, and that's just
the H4Ns are great.
It is. It's I use it for field recording a lot if I want to go out and record some sound effects that I can't find on the the internet, free sources on or if I want to record something unique, then I'll take that out, just throw a memory card in it, and it's good.
Great.
Or I can plug a pair of a microphone into it or whatever. But anyway, so I use that. But even just a regular USB mic, will do fine for field recording.
Yeah, and it's quite amazing. Like when I first bought a mic, I got the Blue Yeti, which again, hope this doesn't destroy everybody, but just the Blue Yeti, which I think everybody gets, and that worked super well. And then I got an NT1 mic, which
those NT1s are nice.
So nice, and they're turned my audiobooks into like butter. I was just like,
well, plus you've got the accent, and so we just love listening to it anyway. So
that's funny. So live chat. We really should sign off now. I could hang out here all night.
I know.
But we should.
I know, me too. Yes.
We're definitely going to play our trailer for Night of the Living Dead. So Matthew and I are working on Night of the Living Dead: The Rising at the moment. That is coming out on October 29th. It is October 29th, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I haven't gone insane.
The Thursday before Halloween.
Yeah. And you guys, you should really come and see it because it's going to be fun. And we're really pushing tech. I feel like, we're trying to make this something exciting that isn't just a simple Zoom play. We're trying to lift this so that it's an experience. Yeah, and
it's not a Zoom play.
No, and we've got an incredible cast for it. Yep. The other creative team, our lighting designer, our props, our costume, everybody is on it.
And our director, she's just amazing.
I mean, Jennifer King, I feel like, is just shooting for the stars. I think she's such a dear person, and I feel like she's got such an incredible eye and brain to just attack work. So I'd love people to come and see it.
Yeah.
So we're going to show the trailer for that as we close out the show. Alana's just said, the cast and crew is brilliant. Yeah. And Pilar, we've got such a great team. We have got a great team. It's lovely. So live chat, we're going to do that definitely. Is there anything else you would like to hear? What else? Have we got anything else that we haven't played that's fun? We've played our big movie clips, haven't we? Is there anything else you would like, Matt? I've always liked Matt's tomb from Romeo and Juliet.
While you cue that up, let me just say this one thing, and this is gonna be like my biggest tip of sound designers. Know when to be quiet. Not your design. Some of the best sound design that I've ever heard is complete silence. And it's not an insult. It means that the world that we're listening to, that we're living in this production, usually it's in film, it's dead quiet, and that is used as an effect, and it's so effectual. Just the one that comes off the top of my head is Quiet Place.
Oh yeah.
Is that the name of the film?
Yeah, the one where you have to be quiet, otherwise the monsters get you.
Yeah. So, obviously there's going to be silence in the film, but the way that they use sound in that film is truly incredible. And just know when to not play any sounds, and that could be deafening.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
And then Alana said, hence my question about the effect of sound in horror. Yeah. And then a little clueless, never expected silence to be the best sound. I think that's actually a really good place to leave the stream. I think
So too.
That's such a good tip, man. Thank you. And thanks so much for jumping on the stream. I mean,
dude, this was so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I enjoy working with you so much, and I think it was just nice for us to, instead of being like not bogged down, but deep in the work. It was nice to kind of step back and like look at it from a wider angle. So I really appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime. And I've got some to-do lists for you, I guess. So I've got some deliverables for you.
So everybody, jump on the Facebook, the Instagram, or the Twitter. We'll be posting Matt's, what was it? Movies for
Top
sound
10 movies
design.
for sound design.
Software.
Yeah.
And there was something else as well.
Well, your video, your.
No, not that. I'm sure somebody wanted to do something else. It's fine. Somebody hit me up on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter if there's anything else you want from Matt. I'm just ignoring the live chat. And we'll end today's stream with the trailer for Night of the Living Dead, which was edited by me and sound design by Matt. And then you'll get an idea for what you're in store if you come back and join us for Night of the Living Dead on October 29th. Thank you so much for being here in the live chat, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Kevin.
Let's go over and watch that trailer, and we'll see you all very soon. Oh, come back on October 2nd. I've got a stream with David Ehrig, who is an acting coach who's working with neuroscientists to create a new acting technique.
What?
I'm really excited about that stream.
Dude,
yeah. October 22nd. So he's going to be here kind of talking about how to backwards engineer your mind for acting.
That sounds scary. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thanks again, Matt. And we'll see you all soon on the streaming theatre. Here's our trailer. Where is the trailer? There it is. Bye.